In this video, I will walk through a complicated statement, writing the Loglish for this statement. Okay, so the first thing I like to do, especially with a complicated statement like this, is go through and highlight all of the logical words. So I've got and only if, another and then I have a not, however, another only if, another and, another not, another and then an if and only if. Okay. Then we go through and we write the Loglish. So we'll do J for jobs will be created. And then we have an and then we have E for the economy will improve. Only if. S for government spending is increased. And then a not T for taxes are not raised. So T is taxes are raised, and then we're denying that. Then we keep the semicolon and the however and a comma. So then we have a D for the deficit will be reduced. Only if T taxes are raised, and S, it's a not S for government spending is not increased, comma, and E for the economy will improve. Then we have an if and only if. And then we have the deficit is reduced, so that's a D. So that's the first pass through the Loglish. Now we need to kind of chunk this. So the first thing I like to do is try and decide what's the major operator. So the semicolon here is a big hint that that's where the statement breaks into two chunks. So we'll put a chunk here around from the J through the not T, and then follow after the however, we make another chunk. Okay, then within that we want to look at see what the structure is. So let's look first at this first part. So J and E, only if S and not T. Now there's no punctuation in there, so it's not really clear just from looking at the Loglish how this should get chunked. So we go back to the sentence, and we see the sentence is, more jobs will be created and the economy will improve only if. So we can see that more jobs being created and the economy improving all are the antecedent of the conditional. They're all of the things that need to happen in order for what follows, the consequent. So only if government spending is increased and taxes are not raised. So those two things get chunked together. So once we've done that, we can see that now we have everything is going to be in two chunks. Now we can replace the logical words with their symbols. So we'll replace and with the ampersand. The only if we'll replace with an arrow. So I'm just going to use the keyboard shortcut there. And then we have the and not. So we have an ampersand and then a negation on the T. Okay, and in between the chunks we see that we have a however. That's a synonym for and, so we can replace that. Okay, and now we have this complex statement, D only if T and not S, and E if and only if D. So the comma here after the not S is a good clue that that's going to be a chunk. So let's actually make this square bracket go from the D only if T and not S. And then we'll have E if and only if D as another chunk. And then we're going to need braces around this. Okay, so then let's look at the D only if T and not S. So we have to again go back to the sentence. So the deficit will be reduced only if both taxes are raised and government spending is not increased. So we need to chunk the T and not S together. So now we are ready to replace the only if with an arrow and the and not with the appropriate symbols. And then we can replace this and with an ampersand. And then we can replace the if and only if with the biconditional. I'm going to use, again, the keyboard shortcuts, just because it's easier than going into the symbol font. So there we go. That big, complex statement broke down pretty easily using the Loglish, sort of step by step, just taking it a little bit at a time. And that's the way to do complicated statements. Just do a little bit at a time. And then each individual part is no harder than the really easy ones that we started out with.